Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the major differences between a fearful avoidant leaning dismissive versus a dismissive avoidant with fearful avoidant edges, or sort of leaning fearful avoidant. So this is actually based off of a question I had from one of the members of our community. And I thought it was a really fantastic question because we've touched on a lot of like the FAA, PA, PFA sort of dynamics, but not so much the very specific differences between an FA leaning DA or a DA leaning FA. So here are some things that you need to know. First and foremost, so one of the parts of this question says, do dismissive avoidants ever cling at the beginning of the relationship, or is that a sign of FA? And this is really one of the biggest first initial signs, is that a DA may be somebody who pursues somebody in the dating stage, because DAs really strongly operate from their feelings minus their fears, which really means it's like their feelings, let's say their feelings are an 8 or 9 out of 10. And let's say their fears of relationships are, fears of commitment, vulnerability, being rejected, these sorts of concepts or ideas that may be programmed at a subconscious level as the result of neglect from painful past experiences. Let's say these are like a 6 out of 10. And what you're going to see is like the feelings being really strong. But once we get into like the honeymoon stage and we get later on to the relationship, power struggle stage especially, some of that neurochemical cocktail that's originally there for every attachment style tends to subside because human beings are very adaptable. And a lot of people think this is a negative thing, but really it's like a rite of passage of the human experience. It gets us to move into the power struggle, which is really characterized by us having to like let down our guard, let down our walls, show our inner world to somebody, share our inner world, our fears, our flaws, our pain points, our needs, our requests, and talk about these things and actually bond at a deeper level because of all of this, which really dramatically increases the chance that the relationship will last once we move beyond that power struggle stage. But before that, we've got this neurochemical cocktail. So we don't really feel, we've got like the neurochemicals of phenylethylamine, which is the attraction neurochemical, and we have serotonin and oxytocin, the bonding neurochemical, and dopamine, and all these things at work. And then this subsides. So when it's active, you may see a DA be somebody who pursues, but pursuing and clinging, I want to put as two very separate things. Pursuing, maybe they may initiate conversation. They may initiate plans more often. They may express that they're interested and show their interest. And they may have a greater capacity to show up and be a little bit more vulnerable. But you're not going to really see a dismissive avoidant of any kind be clingy. So not somebody who tries to spend like many, many nights of the week together, who is pushing to text all day, every day. They can like sort of keep up with a lot of texting in the very early stages, but usually you'll see a drop off quite quickly, even before the neurochemical cocktail fades. And at most, if a DA is pursuing, you'll see them touch base like frequently throughout the day, like 1, 2, maybe even 3 times throughout the day where they initiate. But that's like on the very intense side. That's a DA with like really, really, really strong feelings and really not feeling their fears. So you're going to see these sorts of dynamics where they may be initiating, they may be pursuing, they may be leading the way in the relationship interaction, but clinging being like accidentally invading your boundaries without consciously realizing, pushing beyond without recognition, to see way more often than you feel comfortable, really like sort of at times demanding, maybe in a kind way, but demanding nonetheless that you speak more, or worrying and being anxious and expressing that anxiety, and all these different things we're not really going to see in a DA at all. Whereas in a fearful avoidant, we can really strongly see some of these things early on. And what we'll see is usually like a roller coaster version of them, where there's some of that and then there's very little of it, and there's a withdrawing, and then there's a lot of closeness and then a lot of withdrawing. But you'll see that being one of the major characteristics that differentiates the two. Another big one is if you pay really close attention, dismissive avoidants tend to be very intellectually available, and can be present for intellectual conversations for quite long periods of time, and can be present in conversations socially as well. But when it comes to like talking about emotions, talking about like deep feelings, fears, emotional experiences, you'll usually see a language difference, and a time spent in each of those different areas different. So you'll see a lot of fearful avoidants want to know like your human experience, why you feel the way that you feel, your emotions, how a situation made you feel, what you felt about a situation, what you did after the situation. They're very interested as a general rule. And it goes back to that like need for transparency. They're very interested as a general rule in the deeper dynamics of like the human experience. Whereas a dismissive, when they're really interested in like, what did you think about the situation? Not what did you feel? They're interested in your opinions, your ideas. Like they're interested in the mental faculties of a person, and they tend to get a lot of their needs met through intellectual connection, more so than emotional connection. And so sometimes when we don't pay close attention, they can seem kind of like they're one and the same, but you'll see like the main difference is the absence of vulnerability and the intellectual connection. And we can be a little bit vulnerable about our thoughts, ideas, and opinions, but it's not the same as being vulnerable about your inner world, your fears, your different sort of human dynamics there, at a subconscious level. So that tends to be quite a big one. Another one we'll see is like the DA tends to burn out a little bit faster than the FA. The DA tends to be a little slower to warm up than the FA, who can be quite warm, quite present, quite available sort of from the instant that you meet them. So these are some of the main characteristics. I mean, there's a whole bunch more, but we have in detail those fearful avoidant, how to identify the FA, how to identify the DA videos on here on this channel if you want to check it out. But those are the really clear patterns to look for that you can notice right away, like in the first date and the first little bit of knowing somebody. So I hope this helps a lot. And then also, if you ever want to do a deeper dive into this dynamic as a fearful avoidant with a dismissive avoidant in a relationship or vice versa, we have this whole onslaught of courses that we just put together that are live webinar style courses with slides and notes and all this exciting stuff. And they're all the attachment style interactions. And so if you join the school, you can click the link in the description box below. You can join the school for 7 days for free. If you want to join for 3 months at a time, you can use a code with you at checkout, and it'll give you 25% off as well. And it will give you access to all the different attachment style interactions, the patterns, what needs to be reprogrammed, the core wounds, the fears, all the different things. So you have like a really clear roadmap of what may come up and what you can do so that you can keep bonding, working through things effectively, and thriving in whatever your attachment style interaction relationship is. So I hope this makes sense. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.